Welcome back to ExPats. This is episode 2. I'm your host, Lucas Cobry, joined as always
By
by.
Joshua Downey, thrilled Patriots fan.
We're going to talk a little bit about that absolutely horrendous game that the Patriots played out in the desert on Sunday. What was it, the 15th or something like that? Yeah.
It was a day. It was the 15th. Yeah, the days all blend together when your team sucks at football.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
You're not wrong. Not at all. I think that was a pretty defeating loss. We haven't had one of those in what? The Miami loss is probably the last time that I really. We've only played 2 football games since
I
then.
thought you were talking about we haven't had a loss, and I was going to say the last time we played, but I believe you were referring to a really deflating loss. I
Yeah,
don't know. The Colts one was pretty deflating as
I was
well,
just saying that too.
mostly
Yeah,
because that was like a game that we should have won.
you're
Uh,
not wrong.
But yeah, maybe it wasn't like I don't know. This was like just physically demoralizing, just because it was like we weren't in the game from the jump. So in that case, you might be right. It might be more like kind of the Miami situation. I just there wasn't a moment in time where you ever felt like the Patriots could really uh, change the flow of the game, and I think largely that comes down to a lack of talent, but also just like really poor situational coaching.
No, I agree. I think it. I mean, Drake played really well. We were talking about that off air, but you're right. Like it's consistently bad when you really need it to be, and then when it's okay for them to like maybe not move the ball, like it's deep in the fourth quarter, like they're playing back. We just start moving the ball, like it, and that's my thing. Like you got to capitalize when they're playing up on you and like take some shots. Like that's what you get this kid for. And I get we don't have the outside horses to be doing that, but you can draw it up. You can get these guys open once or twice a game, and like you gotta. There's no reason for them to we can't beat those boxes with the run game. So you got to start throwing them deeper. I think, but
I wonder how much of this like Uh, I feel like I have a lot of these, especially once the Patriots started, I think, just underperforming within the last few years. You kind of have these issues where like late in the game, I feel like a lot of times, especially in the Mac Jones era, you'd be like the Patriots might actually get a couple first downs together, and you're like, oh, we're actually going like kind of hurry up, no huddle, obviously, because you're playing against the clock at that point, and you're like, why can't we play with certain uh, pace and intentionality earlier in the game? Like maybe we could be playing better. And I have a lot of those sentiments this year, but not so much for the same reasons. It's often just for like usage of guys like, an Antonio Gibson that's, doesn't receive a single like him and Ramondre are like some of the few positives we can take from an offensive standpoint this game, and we're still looking at like them not being utilized properly, particularly Gibson. Throughout the course of the game, Gibson had 2 receptions for 31 yards, averaging over 15 yards. A catch. That's pivotal. That's what he did in Washington. He was the change of pace guy. Brian Robinson up there, and Gibson's coming in and he's giving you some speed. He's giving you particularly skills as like a pass catching back as well. Maybe not as renowned as Eckler was when they brought him in, but just like he has that ability, and he gets 2 receptions for 31 yards in late in the fourth quarter in garbage time when it doesn't matter. And he's breaking tackles and he's looking electric, and those are the momentum shifting plays that you need in the first and second quarter. And we can't keep continually going uphill within 5 minutes left in the game when we're down 2 scores. It's not tenable.
no, I agree, and that's the part that really frustrates me. Like watching him in the first few quarters, like he we were talking about it off air. They actually block for him, and it's not because like we were talking a lot about how Ramondre kind of like dilly dallies back there and doesn't get north south, and that's like obviously that's not what this thing is. This scheme is designed to do. Like you want to be able to like that's why the Niners are able to just pump out fast running backs because all they do is just find the hole, one hard cut, and then just get as many yards as you can.
They also
And
have Trent
that's
Williams as left tackle.
no, he's good. Don't get me wrong, but like even
No,
when they
I
don't
agree.
have him,
It's scheme. It's just a joke that we're also like we're so far off that we can't even like plug in mediocre running backs because it would just
no.
be
Well,
even worse. And not that our players haven't been somewhat mediocre this year, particularly Ramondre, but like yeah, it's everything.
no, I think Gibson like actually when he runs the ball in those schemes, dude, like he actually gets downhill. Like he gets 5, 6 yards, and that's That's the thing. Like Ramondre gets me in the backfield because he's like trying to read it, and like those zone schemes, like you have to be there like literally as the hole opens, and you have to be a smart enough runner to be able to see like where they're gonna fall and where your guys' hips are gonna turn to just get you those yards. Like there's all you run zone because you have a smart running back, a smart, fast running back, and you have linemen who you probably don't trust that much pulling and like trying to hit people and like win one-on-ones. You're trying to get these guys combo blocks so that they can get up under the next level and get yards. And Gibson's good at that, obviously, whereas Ramondre is just like send a guy to the hole. Like we run different plays. It feels like with like at the beginning of the season we were running a lot of like everybody just blocks it down the line, and if Ramondre is just going to find a gap, and like if there's a guy in there, he's going to run him over, and like I think that works really well. But it's not like I don't think it's the easiest for our offensive linemen to learn. I think you can do more off the zone stuff with Drake later. I think you can. So like it brings up an interesting question of whether or not you want to keep Ramondre long term, and I'm like, I'm always of
Resign
the
them.
yeah, that's the thing. I'm always of the opinion that you should probably not do that and like just take a swing in the draft. Like I'd love to see Kevin Harris right now. Like I
Yeah,
know that's a
I mean,
crazy
I
thought, but
agree. I don't think it's crazy. I think because in the off season, or rather in preseason, we were kind of looking at Kevin Harris, and he always kind of will have some flashes, against second
yeah,
or third levels of competition. So, what does that really mean? I don't know. But I don't think like going into the season when we were already kind of limited in running back depth, that we kind of anticipated not coming into the season with Kevin Harris and sticking with JaMychal Hasty, who, while granted, whenever I see him out there, it's not like I think that he's, not making lemonade out of lemons. Like it just sucks all around for anyone in that backfield.
mm-hmm.
He has just been a non-starter, and I think we kept him for like special teams utility. And Gibson's already more of like an impactful special teams player than he is. So I
Yeah,
don't. I sit here and I question: was it really worth getting rid of Kevin Harris? But it's funny watching Ramondre. It's like he plays sometimes, and especially as the season progresses and he's just tired and worn down, and maybe he's not as like cerebral a runner. Although I think this game, was an exception to that, and I want to give him props. Like I really do think like there were times when he exercised a little patience, but it wasn't like let me just be slow and then run immediately into the back of my like right tackle or left guard because I'm scared that I won't have a lane that's closed up too quickly. Like he actually was exercising some patience that led to like
sure,
production. Uh, on the ground. He goes 13 for 69. And I think, in this offense, that's pretty good when you're also factoring in Gibson and hopefully Drake May runs, which, we can talk about that being a deficiency this year. Uh, but it's, sometimes like watching Ramondre is just like watching someone that like assumes they have to play like they're constantly running an Oklahoma drill.
mm-hmm.
Sometimes like you don't actually have to do. I know that you're maybe not as laterally gifted as an Antonio Gibson or like obviously a Saquon Barkley, but not everything has to be just head on.
Yeah,
Lower the shoulder, and sacrifice your body when there are plays to be made sometimes. And I don't think it's worth me talking about it this week, just because I don't think out of all the issues the Patriots kind of had this week, they dealt with he is nowhere near the top of the list,
oh
and it would
no,
be
not
like,
even close.
and it would be unfair of me to just kind of sit here and focus on that. It's more so just an observation as to, as you say, like, is he worth keeping around long term?
Yeah,
Especially when you have such a versatile quarterback that maybe having a one-dimensional running back as your bell cow. Again, like if you want to like do a light version, even with these guys of what we were seeing in Detroit, that's far more interesting to me.
no, I agree.
Especially because Drake May is more athletic than a Jared Goff. But I just it is what it is in terms of the Patriots run game right now, and this was, more so of a positive than last time out.
No, and maybe this is me just playing like too much college football or Madden, but like, hey, I haven't been doing that, so it's probably not. But I'd love to see them out there together. Like, I don't think we've seen that once the whole season, where it's just been like we got speed demon receiver out here and Antonio Gibson and just a bruiser. I feel like that would give some interesting looks, and it's not like we're overly skilled at receiver. Like that would be. I feel like that's something. I mean, they're willing to do it with Marcus Jones, so like I think I don't know. That he actually played well though, which is cool. I think that gives you something. I don't know. Like,
You're
I don't
talking
know.
about Marcus Jones as a slot corner right now.
As the offensive player,
I mean, he had one touch, right? That was pretty solid. It was
yeah,
almost a 20-yard gain, something. I don't remember if it was like
something
18
like that.
yards or something.
But
Uh,
I don't remember him from defense. I'll be completely honest. If you
yeah,
remember anything other than them getting, sorry, we can get into Maya's comments later. But there was one where he was like, we had that one long run from Connor that kind of screws up all the averages, and it's like, yeah, that does screw up the averages for that game.
yeah,
But we give up a long run every single week, and it's just like, at what
yeah.
point are we going to be able to contain that? So
And it's also funny because we go into the week being like, all right, look, if we actually utilize Gonzo to the best of his ability, which I think we made a concerted effort to do this week,
yeah,
we're looking at, obviously Trey McBride and James Conner are like, the areas of emphasis, but you're worried a guy like, uh, Michael Wilson might be able to kind of torch you, especially when he's going up against these second corners. Michael Wilson only has 2 receptions for 9 yards in the game. So if you look on that on the outset,
well,
you'd be like,
here's the
wow,
thing.
maybe the Patriots secondary did well. Meanwhile, Greg Dortch, who
I was
only
going
has
to
three
say,
three touches, looks like Tyreek Hill, dude. Like he had three receptions and they go for like 60+ yards, and he literally looks like Tyreek Hill out there. And it's like,
yeah,
that's the Patriots pass defense. Like that's our secondary.
yeah.
That's my secondary. like,
No, that was the part
uh,
that killed me.
yeah,
Like, you want to talk about, you brought up situation football, but like clock's running down first half, and they throw that screen to him where they bring him in motion. I think that's a tough look, but like, he's coming across the middle of the field. He probably ran like 65 yards on that play, and we didn't get a hand on him until
I
40 yards
know,
down the
dude.
field.
That was
So
a 39-yard gain, and you're right. Like he's running like a total of
I have no
essentially like
idea how
60
long it
yards.
was,
I
but
believe it was about because I don't know. I have it in my notes here somewhere, but I'm not just going to go around looking for it for too much time. But that was a backbreaker, especially when you're right. They scheme it across the field, and it looked like they couldn't have imagined it any better in practice.
no, yeah,
Like it seems like they're kind of like, oh shit, like there's really going to be like we have a couple blocks in the middle of the field, or a couple maybe designed kind of like with the one Marvin Harrison play where you're kind of designing like rubs to get people open, and that's like we don't have to talk about the Marvin Harrison Gonzo matchup in the middle of this conversation, but it just felt like everything that could possibly go right on that play call goes right. And, it just goes to show that I don't think it takes much to expose the Patriots defense if emphasize a little bit of like creativity or flair. And the Cardinals kind of did that, like little bits and pieces throughout the game. It wasn't like going up against like, Mike McDaniel, but it was like, they're rocking Trey McBride in the backfield sometimes. They're trying to run some pitch. Like they're doing
cool
things
stuff.
like a little more consistently throughout the course of a game that the Patriots will do once a game. You're like, oh, Marcus Jones was lined up in the backfield. Oh, or like, oh, we did
Yeah,
that one pitch to Hunter Henry one time this year. And it's like, it's so frustrating and demoralizing too when late in the game, like, they have that commentating crew of, McCarthy, and Feely and Tucker, whatever. And they're literally spending like 5 minutes yapping about, and this isn't an insult to them, yapping about how badly Arizona wants to get Trey McBride a receiving touchdown because he has
I
like a
know.
fumble recovery touchdown and a rushing touchdown, whatever. And they're literally just talking about this ad nauseum. And it's like, all right, like that's a good narrative. Like when you're a commentator, that's what you're trained to do. But through the course of a game, they can't really sacrifice their situational integrity to get Trey McBride a receiving touchdown. They freaking did. Like they
I
literally
know.
were scheming him like touches in ways where I was insulted as a Patriots fan. Like they're not taking it seriously. Like they're
No, no,
doing
yeah,
that. They're doing that pitch to McBride, and it doesn't
yeah.
work, and they end up just running, blasting us with Connor up the middle. Connor, rushes over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. But like they're literally trying desperately to get this guy a touchdown. And granted, I find him to be one of the best tight ends in the league. He's carried my fantasy football team this season, but it's almost like a joke. Like they're laughing on the sideline, watching, Kyler and McBride just be like, crap, we'll get it next time. Like he's literally just like, damn,
Well,
and it's like,
whoever
wow,
made the tackle on that play,
Christian
just
Ellis, I
that was a
believe.
freaking great tackle. Like, I was like thoroughly
Yeah.
impressed.
I was going to ask you if I think maybe later on in the episode, because there's probably more pressing issues to talk about, but I was going to say, like, what holdovers from the defense next year would you want to have? I'm not talking about like blue chip guys, like obviously Gonzo and Barmore. I mean like guys that you think could be, good, good guys to have at least rotationally. And while there aren't many positives to take away from this game other than Gonzo on the defensive side of the ball, like I really do think like Ellis made some plays. Like talk about like what could have been a momentum shifter. Like, early in the first quarter, we're holding them to a field goal after that Joey Slimus because Christian Ellis meets Kyler Murray, one of the most athletic, smaller, difficult to tackle guys in the league. He meets them on third down in open space. Like to me, that was like oh crap. Like those are the moments with good teams where you look at stops like that where you're like, wow, like that could change the tide of a game because you had a missed field goal, a special team snafu, like that can happen. Guys will miss field goals. Joey Slime might be doing it more than your average Bear right now, but he's doing it. And Christian Ellis makes a play on Kyler Murray in open field. And that play, like what could have been something that Patriots fans could talk about this week in the media because, hey, we had a great game with Arizona, and these are the kind of guys that are putting forth, a good effort. Christian Ellis meeting Kyler Murray, meeting Trey McBride, like hitting their best players, on pivotal,
Yeah.
goal line and or third down conversion situations. And it's kind of a non-factor in terms of like media narrative. Again, we can talk about whether or not guys like that, have a spot on the team next year, but it is frustrating when those things have to go overlooked because of all the other warts kind of surrounding the team.
Well, I think it's a good question. I think Ellis is definitely one of those guys. I was kind of liked his play, not all season. I think in Miami he kind of struggled down there. I think that's an easy one to pick on him though. I think he's played well. But other than him, it's like I don't know, like the guys up front are like not good. Like I'm trying to think, like Godshaw, I wouldn't want. Like I think he's like one of your only good players. I think White is fine. I
He should be
think
just a run stopper. Like he should be like a situational defensive tackle.
Dietrich Wise
Aqu-
comes on the field far too much for my liking. Like I
Aquale had like a few good games, but then he's also like a non-factor in
exactly.
most others.
No, and he and like freaking Barmore are talking before. Or he like said to Barmore at one point, he's like, "It's a shame we haven't both been out there at the same time." I was like, "Has it?" like,
Yes,
you're a fine.
Daniel Aquale, you're right. I think I heard
Yeah,
Stephen A. Smith say that on First Take. Actually, he's like, "It's a shame.
yeah,
It's a damn
literally.
shame. Daniel Aquale hasn't been out on the field with Barmore. like,
No,
has
literally.
he?"
And like, so I don't know. I don't know who you want to keep. Like, I think I have my crushes on guys like freaking Anthony Jennings. I'd want back because I think they've run away from him on purpose on every snap. Um,
He got screwed. If we're gonna have one like complaining conversation today, we can talk about that BS roughing the passer call.
I still don't see it, dude. I'm not gonna lie.
No, I don't see it. Here's what frustrates me about it is, uh, first of all, I'm not saying woe is me, the refs lost us the game. The Patriots lost us the game, and this is just like more of an issue I have with the NFL as a whole and the way it's instructing its officials to kind of operate when it comes to protecting the quarterback. Uh, and in some instances, I think people do complain too much. Like it's just like easy to blame referees for giving the Chiefs games when Mahomes is touched. Every good team with a good quarterback has kind of experienced that. But you have one of the most dynamic runners of the football in the NFL, Kyler Murray, uh, who is basically at the line of scrimmage. That when he releases the ball is like dangerously close to like picking up a penalty for throwing it. Like the commentators for a good 35 seconds were like, "Wow, that's one of the worst picks we've seen Kyler throw. Like this is kind of typical of a team that's on a losing stretch, which they were,
Mm-hmm.
because he would make some boneheaded plays in there." And they were, and eventually shocked to find out that it was Jennings gets called for the roughing the passer. But man, like he's literally at the line. Like this to me, like if you're like on the line of scrimmage, you are I don't care if you're the quarterback, you are a runner in open space. Granted, he had a guy on his back, but to me that's just like so antithetical to the game of football and really like frustrating that like maybe a really cool like red zone turnover gets kind of taken away and really not because we're going to win but just because like damn it gave us some excitement to watch. Like it's really unfortunate for us in the game of football that like those are the kind of roughing the passer calls that are being given when he's not anywhere remotely near the pocket.
I wish I feel like I might have like blanked out or like been like doing something while this happened because I my dad
Sleeping,
was
probably.
nah.
It's the Patriots game, dude. On a mid Sunday at like 5 o'clock, you're probably taking a nap like every
I
other
it was
Patriots fan.
it definitely hit. I'm not gonna that I it definitely would have hit, but I don't think I actually don't think I slept all day that day, which is as a 23-year-old unemployed fresh college graduate, that's something to brag about.
I mean, it's
But
kind of nice. I mean,
nah, it went hard, dude. I'm not gonna lie.
dude, talk about a trippy like horror movie esque way to watch the Patriots game is just going manic on 0 hours of sleep, just feeling like like zero adrenaline. You're just going in kind of tired and wired at the same time, and then you have to watch us just like continuously torment you for 4 hours, like literally like kind of dangling a little carrot in front of your face, like, oh, Drake May, looks very athletic and he has so much talent, but Vidarian Lowe won't block and he'll get blown up on a second down, and then it's going to be 3rd and 19. Like
No, it's a
just
bad
it
drug
must
trip.
have been a bad, must have been a real bad Sunday for you.
Well, I was a little bit hungover and I was watching the game and I was like, every week I go into the game and I'm like, this is gonna be so freaking awesome. We're gonna get to watch Drake May play some football in a
Yeah.
Patriots uniform. He's gonna throw a touchdown pass, and well, let's be honest, like we all know I've been a Drake guy for a while now, but like that pass, dude, that little
Oh, the
shovel.
shuffle the pop.
Oh my god, that was awesome, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
the
was awesome.
chef's kiss.
I mean, look, it's in garbage time, but like, yeah, that was that. What plays real sexy when you watch it from different angles, and every time you're like, how does he even like see like the angle of him? It almost like from some angles it looked almost like a no look. Like he knows exactly where Pop is, waits till the exact right second to draw a guy in, and then it's just like, boop, God, like that's and again, it's so funny to watch that. Like this is what I'll call it, practical athleticism, like in the
Yes,
football field. And to then watch the Mac Jones spin and then Riz, like that shit, or that was real funny.
that was awesome,
like,
dude.
like
He's a funny dude.
that's impractical athleticism. Granted, Mac Jones, put up an okay stat line, and
Carried us.
had some fantasy relevance.
Yeah,
I'm not talking about during the Pats. I'm talking about like this week in particular,
carried me
which,
to the
yeah,
chip.
he carried you. Well, you have, yeah, Brian.
Yeah,
Wait, hey, dude, knock on wood, bro. Don't say that. For context, Lucas and I are both in different semifinal matchups of the fantasy football league. Both like, I mean, I was the 2 seed, but I would say like the guys we're playing were kind of the top dogs all season, and
yeah.
we routed them up week one. Like we're dusting them. Like Lucas, you have like almost a 70% chance to win uh, going in, and I have like an 83% chance to win. And going into the second week of a matchup, that's like rare, and it's because we both just
Mac
we guessed.
Jones said, "Here you go, buddy. I
Mac
know you're
Jones.
a huge fan of
Yeah,
mine. Take this." Colby's gonna
yeah.
watch this and he's gonna be. I hope he sees this far. He's gonna be tight.
If anyone watches up until this moment in time, 23 minutes into the recording, I'd be very grateful.
Message Colby Richardson.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah, I
hope.
really hope Colby actually tunes up, like watches it, and is like, you know what, I'm gonna support the fellas. And he's like, are you kidding me? Colby gets back. Colby gets back from like an 8-hour work shift, just sits down, maybe cracks open a beer. Is like, I've had a long day. I've dealt with some people that were really kind of like unfair to me, and I'm sad. Like, let me support my boys. Like, let me be selfless here. And then it's like, Colby, you suck, dog. You're getting absolutely sauced by Lucas in fantasy, and Lucas started Marvin Harrison 90% of the year, dude.
90% of the year. Yeah.
But that's an interesting side tangent.
Well,
Maybe
that's
if we build a listenership that exceeds 10 people concurrently, like maybe they'll be interested in our fantasy exploits. But
hey.
don't have to bother them with that now.
No, it was a hell of a story. So if you
It's a hell
didn't
of a
enjoy
story,
that,
dog.
if you didn't enjoy that, that's on you.
Yeah, honestly, like you don't understand, dude. You just wouldn't understand. The neighbors Maserati, that's Lucas's team, has the comeback for the ages. Which, honestly, if we do end up in the championship, you need to throw it for me because I got you in there in the first place with that brilliant
Whoa.
Josh Allen game. You know
Neighbors
I did.
Maserati. No, that's not you though. I'm not giving
It
you that.
it literally is me, dude. I drafted Josh Allen a round earlier than people, thought to because I knew this man would get me a 50-point burger late in the game, and that 50 points got you into the championship by
50
knocking out
points.
the fifth by knocking out the fifth seed, dude. That was crazy.
Yeah.
It was
No, it's
all on my. I scored 6 touchdowns against the Rams, dude. I did that.
you. All right, fair enough. I appreciate
I did that. My name is also Josh. Uh,
it.
uh, I was gonna try to draw other comparisons. There really are none. You know, he's just better
Um,
looking, taller, better at sports. He kind of has it all, dude. Uh,
he's a funny
he's
guy too. That's the problem,
he's a
dude.
funny guy. He's about to marry like a superstar. So, and they seem real happy.
Well, here's my thing. Like a lot of the times, like I'm like all right, whatever. Like you got all that, but I'm funny. You can't take that away from me. And with him, it's just like
No, he's funny too, dog.
he's funny too.
Damn, he's funny too, dog.
Yeah. I won't tell that story on the
Yeah,
air, but I've met him, and him dubbing me for the for the autograph. I will never
that is
forget
funny.
that, man.
That is funny, dude. And you know what? I can't even grow very good facial hair. Neither can he, but his is still better than mine. So he's
His
still
is
there's
good, dude.
nothing I can take. It's all right. I mean, it's he doesn't have like Joey Sly level like immaculate beard
He's
growth,
got a
but it's
beard, dude.
still Joey Sly.
That's like a man. That's like a. I mean,
He,
here's my thing. He kind of looks a little Jake Polish.
yeah, dude, Joey Sly just needs to like he's a dude's dude because he's yoked. But he just
Yeah.
needs to transplant some of that excess beard hair onto the top because it's thinning up on the dome for the
You're
boy.
not wrong.
And when he takes off the helmet, you're like, damn, you're like you have like a Donald Trump cut if Donald Trump kind of was like around a nuclear reactor zone and his hair kind of thinned out a little bit and was a little more wispy, but it's just equally as chaotic.
He definitely
So
voted for Trump.
yeah, dude, Joey Sly
A
absolutely
thousand
voted for
percent.
Trump, dude. I think he has a Betty Boop tattoo on his right arm or something. I mean, that's not true, but I feel like he just, he's a Trumper dog. I mean, geez, Joey Sly.
No, for sure.
Joey
Um,
Sly eats liberals for breakfast.
that's a good one.
Liberals and keto protein pancakes. Ah.
That sounds. That's my kicker right there, man. He can miss all the 53 yarders at
That's not
once.
my kicker, dog. Give me a rail thin kicker, dude. Give me a Twitter warrior if he can kick 50 yarders
Twitter
on the day.
warrior.
Give me, I
No,
don't care
that's the
how
thing.
good your beard is, dog. I'm watching football for made field goals and red zone efficiency, and the Patriots have neither.
You're not wrong. That's the part that really hurts me,
Yeah,
dude. I cannot. They get into the red zone. It's like, Drake, you're either gonna hit that first look, my boy, or you better make something happen. And
yeah,
twice he made something happen in the red zone, which is cool. But like that fucking, sorry, that 4th and 1.
yeah, dude. Just, I mean, too bad fourth. I mean, honestly, the fourth and one we didn't get on the 5 yard line. I agree. Like, and what we can segue into the Gerard Mayo conversation. Like, I agree that we should be scheming up like Drake May runs in these situations. That's still somehow to me, uh, at least from a fan's perspective, not as bad a call as earlier. Having a fourth down pitch to Ramondre Stevenson and expecting him to go laterally, and he gets a first down by like inches, like literal inches. And we have guys like Drake May and Gibson that can be in the backfield and like have an element of explosiveness, to their game, and we're pitching it to the side. To might I add, the left side, Vidarian Lowe's domain.
I
We're
know,
pitching it on 4th and 1, which is just bold, dog. That's bold.
I know. I think, yeah. Let's talk about Gerard Mayo's comments. I think you said you hadn't really heard him, and I think it's really unfortunate that it's so important to talk about because everybody's been talking about, like, you've been watching Current or anything, or I'm sure CLNS is about to start talking about it too in a little bit. But like, it's when you have your coach say something like that was like, I've seen my sister say stuff like that, and like I can't believe, like, yes, am I wrong, dude? Like
Dude,
I've
it's
literally,
so funny. We talked
like,
about Bill and like us being the petty ex girlfriend, but Bill's also the petty ex girlfriend. This is such like the like that you said it. Like I don't
just yeah, I'm not gonna say that, but
Sister, I hear you. I have no comment.
my hands are tied.
Girl, I know.
Literally though, dude, like I'm with him though. Like, why are you not running like some kind of read out? Like, and we talk about this a lot off the air, but
Yeah,
like you literally have the zone read, and like you can throw the RPO on that if you want, but it's literally designed for bad offensive lines. Like you're just taking a number away,
yeah.
and like taking a whole guy away from that like helps so much. Like I don't think I'm exaggerating when I'm saying that like Drake May would throw Mac Wilson around. Like if Mac Wilson's the guy that they decide to put on him in that game, like
R.I.P. Mac Wilson got hurt early on. Patriots legend.
oh, I didn't know that.
Show some respect. Yeah, dude, he was one of the people that I think Gibson,
Oh,
absolutely tossed out the game. I think he got a concussion. Maybe was that Mac Wilson the one? He had a
let's
concussion
find
and a
out.
knee injury early on. There was like two back-to-back plays where Gibson like literally just took guys out of the game like inadvertently. It wasn't like he physically like displaced them. It was just like freak like head and knee, contact on tackles.
Yeah, no, he
Uh,
does have a little.
but yeah, Mackie Boy got hurt, and the
Yeah,
commentators were lamenting. They were like, "We feel bad for him. This was going to be a big game for him, obviously, given that he spent some time up north." So hate to
yeah.
see any guy go out, especially a former Pat. Like that really sucks.
No, I agree. I think he was a guy that I liked too. When they let him go and let him walk, I was like
Yeah.
a little
He
bit
was my
upset.
favorite Mac on the team.
Not me. I'm not gonna lie. Mac's my guy.
You shouldn't be, but
He's a.
uh,
That was so funny, dude. I cannot get over that. I saw him get up and do that in real time because I had the freaking red zone on,
yeah,
and I was just like,
I
"You
can get
are
over it.
such a loser."
I can get over it because I saw him have a 40-yard gritty in the Pro Bowl on
Yeah.
a like a Pro Bowl that's like majority non-contact. He's like dude,
Hey.
dude is like the opposite of Josh Allen, where he's like funny, but because he's such a like I want to
Yes.
like him so bad, but like those like Miami Vice type pictures he was taking when he got to Jacksonville in front of like exotic luxury cars, like that's insane to me, dude. He's your backup quarterback. He looks like he's in worse shape than he was last year, although he did look pretty quick on that
No,
spin
he's
move route. I
definitely
will
in
say,
worse
like
shape.
he looks like he's in worse shape. The run that he had this weekend was fun. The spin was cute. Part of me thinks I'm watching it on like Instagram or YouTube on, 2 times speed, like you say you'll watch football sometimes. So part of me was like, I don't even think Mac Jones is that fast because I saw him lumber around last week and it looked absolutely
I
laborious.
know. I mean, Brian Thomas Jr. is really good. That's all I'll say.
Yeah,
And they love
yeah,
going man against him for some reason. Like that's
yeah.
I'm
Which
watching
is
that game and I'm like,
yeah,
he's flying whoever you
yeah.
put. It was
And it's funny
awesome.
because it's not even like they have Christian Kirk anymore. He's out for the year, so it's not even like they have like depth at other positions to maybe necessitate like manning up a couple guys and just like
He
taking
just
away options.
he was just eating. I loved watching it.
Yeah, but to bring it back to your point, because I want to kind of give you a platform to talk about some of the more schematic stuff because that's more in your wheelhouse. Particularly with running RPOs in a team that's devoid of talent and particularly talent on the offensive line, and as you said, that basically just it is a necessity for teams with bad offensive lines. Like in a game where Ramondre goes, 13 for 69, Gibson 7 for 33, we have guys averaging, over 5 yards a carry and well over 5 yards a carry. Like we've shown that we can actually kind of exploit them on the ground. And again, penalties and, blown blocking assignments derailed a lot of drives. So it is hard to kind of play the coulda, woulda, shoulda game. But Drake May, no design runs, which isn't anything new in an AVP offense, but he like you're looking at stats they put up on the broadcast, and he's up there in terms of yards per carry with Michael Vick as a rookie, in terms of like all-time yards per carry ranks. Like he was over 9 yards a carry coming into the game, just absolutely electric, and he has 4 carries for 14 yards and a touchdown. Uh, and the touchdown, it was a great kind of anticipation 5 yard. Just let me roll out, see what I got, and if not, I can kind of turn tail and just run straight in the end zone. But what I'm saying is those 4 runs were a lot of the time like it may 4 for 14 isn't efficient by any like running metric, but when you're looking at when he's getting these yards, he's getting like 3 or 4 yard carries because a drop back's blown up, a play action's blown up almost immediately, and he basically is just using his like elite QB athleticism to kind of set an edge, get to the sideline, book it upfield, and then a lot of the time run out of bounds. intelligently and just pick up 4 yards on what should have been a 3 yard loss. So for me, those are like net 7 yard gains a lot of
No,
the
they
time.
are. That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the part that really hurts. That because like when he actually creates the opportunity himself, he goes out and uses it so freaking well that it's like, and like that combined with the fact that like, was it game one in the preseason? Like they got into the red zone. Let me keep that on his own read. We're gonna go and like he makes them like the touchdown they run is like all out pressure. He reads it and like almost as he takes the snap, he's just already moving outside the pocket
Hmm.
and like that's like high level. Like he's reading the defense. He knows he's got man everywhere, and like you can see him being like, "Should I throw this ball?" And it's like, "No, there's nobody between you and the goal line. Just go."
Yeah.
And like that's football's all about angles at the end of the day. Like if you can
Yeah.
create advantageous angles, and like that's why I think like we should see more of Gibson. Gibson beats angles in a way that Gibson or Stevenson just cannot. And Drake May adds another angle that you have to guard. Like you have to keep the backside, and there's no reason. Like we're not running bootlegs. We're not running bootlegs effectively, I should say. But like we probably do
On
run
our
bootlegs.
Falcon you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
On our
exactly,
Kirk
dude.
Cousins grind.
Yeah, dude, he looked so bad last night. Yeah,
Yeah, that was tough. It was a tough performance.
yeah. No, I don't know. I think like the RPO of it all, like you said, you can't once you get down so much and like in the behind the sticks, you're like, we can't really do this. But like 1st and 10, I think you should come out with a 3 option RPO and like just keep it basic and make it like a zone read on the backside, or like on in terms of the run, and then like a 3 receiver set to the other side, and just run like a bubble screen on the other side, and like you're either gonna have the numbers or Drake's gonna take off, and like that's all I want to see. That's why I can't like. That's why I'm flipping my script on AVP. I think the whole season I've just been like, because when he does it, dude, it works. That's my problem. Like when we were in Chicago and he was running the RPO as well, and Drake wasn't even like he probably did have the option to keep it, but I don't think they really want him to. But it
AVP
works
doesn't
when
at least.
yeah. I mean,
Which we,
Gerard.
yeah,
Gerard literally
Gerard
wants
seems
the
to think
man
so.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things that I think again, like, I think we came into this today, like in our kind of pre-show meeting, and you were a lot more, I think, pleased than I was, largely because of Drake, which I think is like a good reason to be encouraged, going forward. I was just really frustrated with how I think ineptitude at kind of, all levels, really from coaching up to management, I think is potentially stunting even more growth than we could be seeing from, a young man that clearly is an elite athlete. I mean, so much of what we came into the year, like we have the Orlovskis, which I don't mean to beat a dead horse here, but saying that he needs like, the Jordan Love 3 year plan or something like that crazy. Like he's already, if you watch Packers games, I think he's a better decision maker than Jordan Love. I think Jordan
I would
Love's a
say
good
so.
quarterback, but Jordan Love like has like 3 turnover worthy plays a game almost. Like sometimes
Yeah.
you watching him, it's just like he's bold, and sometimes like yeah, Drake May coming out of the half just wants to launch it. He just wants to have one shot dialed up, and I think a lot of that more so comes from hubris than like situational stupidity with
Mm-hmm.
him. He's definitely not like just making dumb decisions because he's really nervous or he's skittish or
No.
he's not reading the defense at all. Like for us, like we came into the season being like he really needs to like schematically have an understanding of what we're doing, and just learn how to read defenses. That's important because he has all the tools. It's just about what's upstairs, uh, and he's checked so many of those boxes. We obviously like in this game, we have, the one play that, steps off the screen is going to be the booty overthrow when he's rolling out. But, like, he's rolling out. He's almost at the sideline and he overthrows. Like, and it's kind of like a wild overthrow where you're like, damn, like, how does that even pop out? But, like, one miss like that a game, especially one that's, like, off platform, I'm, I'm like, annoyed. But then, like, the next target to booty, that drive, like, you have he's throwing it perfectly so that booty sits down, so he's not getting ripped over the top, and we can just kind of move the chains. And of course, what does booty do? He tries to kind of, get some yak and just have like essentially a pick that shouldn't be a pick to Drake May. So for those plays piss me off far more. It's the guys that are around Drake, failing him more so than any sort of issue with Drake. Upstairs, there might be some mechanical cleaning up you could do, but I think we given how dysfunctional this AVP offense proved to be this week, it is like remarkable how steady Drake May is for a rookie, and how many highly intelligent plays he makes a week, and how much those offset, a couple of the rookie mistakes that you see a game.
No, and you bring up a valid point because in Houston, he was making those rookie mistakes that you're talking, or when we played Houston, he was making those rookie mistakes, and you've seen it go down and down and down, and like now he's the last two interceptions he's thrown have not been his fault. If you ask, if you ask anyone, both of them went off the receivers.
I mean, the
The
Hunter
receivers'
one like
hands.
really sucked. Yeah, that one. I
I
mean,
mean, that
that
one
was
is probably
probably a worse
closer.
throw than this one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this one is bad. This one,
this one he was throwing his man like to safety. Like
open.
it was
Yeah,
like it was an intelligent like I'm throwing you to safety slash throwing you open slash we need to move the chains here. We don't need guys that, no offense, aren't going to be real like highlight real level
no,
players when it comes to yards after catch. Like let's just play this intelligently, and that just that was a
no.
bummer.
And I've been on my Keyshawn Booty soapbox the whole season. I think he's a good player. I just, like you said, I think they just all kind of want to do too much because they're not threatening the deep part of the defense.
Mm,
Like I don't know. It's hard to watch if you ask me because I'm somebody who
yeah.
I play a lot of Madden. It's probably easier to take shots in Madden than it is, but vertical offenses, you can dictate the way people play you if you run a vertical offense, in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion. Because you're not seeing these three high shells. You're seeing four and two and man to man. And right now you're asking Drake to do they're able to just defend the run so well, and AVP is not able to get his guys open because we can't get guys open apparently.
Yeah, it's hard to know like how these guys are developing and if they're developing well. Uh, like Pop Douglas, I think, is like a really disappointing example this season.
For sure.
And part of that might just be like when you can't get enough separation, which Booty struggles with sometimes as well. You need to be at least of the frame where like Drake can just rifle it in there, and you see a lot of those plays. Whether or not it's up the seam, sideline. Like Drake May is just like throwing it to where only Keyshawn Booty can make a grab, and with Pop Douglas, it's really hard because like that's rarely the case if he's not getting any separation.
No, and I
And
think I that's my problem with Pop. We talk a lot about Tet and all those guys and T Higgins. That's the benefit of those guys.
yeah, I mean they have catch radius, which is huge.
Mm.
And like say what you want about Tet, not being one of the quicker receivers, whether or not he has sneaky speed, like after the catch, there's some intuition there. Now, whether or not that
Sure.
comes from not playing in the SEC, who knows? But I think like there needs to be just more. I mean, and sometimes like earlier in the season, Pop showed like intelligence in terms of like, let me pick up an extra 5 yards by making a guy miss, or
Mm-hmm.
understanding like where I am on the field in relation to like the corner as well as the safety over top, or maybe a linebacker across the middle. Like he kind of had an understanding that would get you a few more yards, and it's almost like he's kind of shrunk into himself a little bit. Like you know, talk about shrinkage. I mean, we have that, and then we have Jalen Polk, like the ultimate shrinkage.
Did he even touch
The
the
water
field?
must be freezing cold in New England, man, because there's just a lot of guys that aren't like playing outside themselves or really like exhibiting a lot of growth. I mean, this is like probably the worst like three down stretch. Like after this is, so I talked earlier about how much I kind of valued that Christian Ellis stop in the open field. Uh, against Kyler Murray, early in the game after he had that missed field goal. And, how do the Patriots respond? The next drive, it's, Robinson off the left side, absolutely manhandles low. And by manhandles, I mean just waltzes past them, blows Stevenson up in the backfield. And then Browning, similar story, next play on 2nd and 12, like uncontested pass rush. So we end up going, we have 3rd and 19 And we're never actually looking downfield in these 3rd and 19 situations generally. I mean, sometimes we've actually let Drake air it out, and I don't mind that when you're that like we like a lot of those like here let's just throw a screen, or a quick route, like 5 yards to show off the line of scrimmage. Like let's let guys that can move, potentially get you an extra 15 yards after the catch, but we don't have Miami's offense, so it rarely ever
No.
works. But it's 3rd and 19, and Pop just fumbles it, which is like the worst thing you could do. And honestly, one of the most athletic plays of the game was Kendrick Bourne, like catching that fumble midair and then, kind of avoiding a hit. Like that was impressive,
Hmm.
but Pop wasn't. And that really stinks, especially because situationally, after we already had like, I guess you could say like a 6 point swing in terms of when you miss a field goal, they get the ball where like it's turnover on downs, they get the ball, where you kick, and then they go up and kick a field goal. Like to go off of that and then just have a potential, fumble in like a crucial, part of the field, like that's also just, inexcusable. And again, like shrinkage, dude, I don't know, you know, where Pop's gone, but he's kind of, he's fading. And I don't even find like the pitch play from Drake, to me, that was Drake because
Oh,
Pop
without a
wasn't
doubt.
even getting separate. Like Pop wasn't even like on the same page with Drake May and being like, let me just kind of like shuffle in the end zone. Like he almost felt immobile, and Drake had to wait until the last second to
Yeah.
draw guys in to fool him to be like, oh, he's running, and that's when he did it. I don't even think Pop thought he was an option,
No, I don't think
on
he
the
did either.
touchdown. So
And
yeah,
that's reason to be excited about Drake May, but you're right. We got some freaking holes to fill.
yeah.
And
Especially
that,
when you only get Hunter Henry, our best, player in the passing game, the ball 4 times. Another AVP, I think,
yeah.
malpractice.
Yeah, and I don't love the idea of just beating up on one guy, but like, I mean, that was bad. Like, I think you gotta. There's some problems you gotta figure out if you're like, I mean, and it's not just us thinking this. Like, I was talking to Pops, and Pops was like, "Don't, I don't love it." I said, "Did you see the Jonathan Kraft? I don't know if you've seen him, but like the lip reading, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly."
yeah, yeah. He was, freaking. He was geeking up in that box.
No, I mean, and it was bad because like you and I don't even watch this with like a pen and paper. I mean, you had some notes, but he had like a book, dude. And I was like,
Yeah.
wow, like I mean, this guy made his money doing literally anything other than football, and now it's gotten to the point where he feels he can do it better than. I mean, I don't want to put words in his mouth by saying that, but like,
We'll see. I mean, people might be over exaggerating just because we're in a state of disarray, but like, yeah, it's. I want to see him fired up because this is going to be his team, and he like, you know, damn well better have a plan of action for when it is turned over to him, and he kind of inherits what has been for 30 years an incredibly successful organization, uh, that's gone to however many Super Bowls. What have we gone to, like 10 Super Bowls,
in his
11?
time, something like that, yeah. Because didn't no, I don't think he owned the team the first.
Wait, in the for the Packers Super Bowl.
We played the Packers. I think it was like
6
96,
in
but
the in
we
February of '96, or was it the '96 season? I think it was just '96. We'll say
well we
'96.
played the Bears too.
Well, that's '85. The Crafts didn't own the team in '85.
Oh,
Uh,
that's 80. You're right. It was 85. I always
no,
think that's a 90s. Yeah,
no. It
85.
was no. We were the team that had to play the '85 Bears, and you
Yeah,
know, what was it? Ditka infamously didn't give Walter Payton his touchdown and just kept feeding the fridge or whatever, and it was kind of like a slap in the face. That was
I
that
didn't
was
know. Huh?
that was a big controversial kind of move in football history. Like if you watch the Walter Payton football life, it's like Mike Ditka broke Walter Payton's heart, which is really sad because you're like Walter Payton's one of the greatest running backs of all time. Like it would have been nice for him to like have an impact in the Super Bowl, but I'm pretty sure he was like schemed out of the Super Bowl largely, or
That's
just like
crazy.
a scheme to have a minimal impact. Now, I don't. This is not gospel, and there are people with far greater football knowledge than myself that probably know. But yeah, that was kind of a point of contention. But again, that's the '85 Bears defense. Like they were going to maul that Patriots team no matter
They
what
scored like
happens.
10 points. Yeah.
It was just a mess. But
Dude, that's
I
crazy
mean,
to hear about Sweetness though. They made this
sweetness
a
dog.
lot.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Just the goat not named Barry Sanders or Jim Brown, I guess. But all three of them can be goats together. How about that? How about we don't need to make, one guy the goat outside of, Tom Brady?
I was
I
just said the same, right? If anybody else
nah.
says somebody's better than Tom, I get so pissed.
No, I just mean like I don't like the media conversations about these guys because generally we have to discredit people that have done inhuman or superhuman feats rather. And like you see this in like every sport now. It's just kind of the toxic backwash of, debate show,
Hmm.
frivolity. It's just frustrating to watch. But like a guy like Brady, it's like, yeah, he won 7 Super Bowls. Like that's different. Like we should reserve it for the guys like a Jordan or LeBron or a Brady, like guys that genuinely deserve to have like the rest of them. Like let's just really appreciate them all. And maybe some were like the best we've ever seen, but that's very personal. It doesn't have to
Yeah,
be no, I'm right. And except when it comes to Lionel Messi being better than Ronaldo, that's a fact
fair.
as well. I
Yeah,
got
no,
my
I mean,
I got my Go shirt on actually, so I'm saying a whole lot of nothing and then completely being a hypocrite,
well,
which
here's
is,
my thing. Like,
what anyone with a podcast would do, dog.
come on now. We didn't get enough of our narratives off. um, no, but like, I agree. I think we should save those titles for Messi, Brady, and Jordan.
Yeah. Let's just continue to spread misinformation on the podcast. Then maybe Joey Sly will start watching it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. We got to appeal to somebody.
Yeah. No offense to Joey Sly. I don't know what your interests and affiliations are. I don't mean to. It's more of an appearance joke, which I guess is really shallow. But come on now, we got to make some jokes on the pod, dog.
Yeah,
Got to make
exactly.
some
You're a
jokes on the
football
pod,
player,
dog.
man. We feel
Yeah,
insecure.
and I have nothing against you personally. I just have something against you professionally when you miss a kick every game.
Yeah,
But it's neither here nor there.
neither here nor there. No, I agree. I'm right there with
It's
you.
neither here nor the wide left. Actually, that's what it is. It's not here, there. It's over there.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. You got anything else you want to talk about?
we talked about it pregame, but I just want to go over like just for a second again. Early first quarter, not early in the first quarter, late in the first quarter, but you have an opportunity like to respond after you have a really unfortunate series of events where, the Cardinals dice you up, but you get a fumble near the goal line and you have, Jonah Williams, pick up the ball just before. Like if you watch the way it takes kind of like a football bounce, like right in the back of the end zone, so it goes up rather than forward, he's able to recover it. Jonah Williams scores his first touchdown since, if you listen to the broadcast, allegedly sixth grade. So that sucked. And, because they won the game in pretty dominant fashion, he's going to be able to take that ball home and, have a good story for the kids, whatever. But how we respond, and again, this is just an AVP criticism, maybe it's also an execution and it's also just how weak our tackles are. But we essentially scheme up, a play action. Drake's going to roll out to the right, after pretending to hand it off to, I believe, after, play action to Gibson, I believe, I think it was Gibson, but I'm not remembering clearly. And we have Hunter Henry coming across the right side, like on a shallow cross, essentially. And for some reason, we have Trey Jacobs, our right tackle, throw out a chip block. And first of all, I don't really understand it, but I don't understand why he's throwing out a chip block and diving like almost 5 yards fully forward and almost takes out Hunter Henry's knees. Now, Hunter Henry still gets the ball, but it becomes like a nothing completion. Like that's how you come out and you respond with a play action, get Dre, to the opposite side, or get Drake to the opposite side that kind of like, the defense can be flowing, that your offensive line is flowing towards. And for some reason, you're just throwing an offensive tackle out, like, into a shallow field position. And like, you could take out Hunter Henry's ACL. Like, he gets a catch, but that's a play where maybe you had wanted to get, first of all, the ball in your best receiver's hands. And Hunter Henry is our best receiver, make no mistake about it. And potentially get a first down off the rip, because there's nothing better than a first down on first down. And especially after giving up a score, let alone one that's as fluky as a fumble recovery, because that just blows. But yeah, just like that to me in a nutshell kind of summarizes this game. Uh, Schematic ineptitude, AVP, and just like, what it is that we're doing here when you're, throwing Trey Jacobs out, on a chip block into your best player. I don't, maybe if AVP got in front of me and had a whiteboard and told me what he was trying to do, and he knows a lot more about football than I do, admittedly. Like, maybe I'd be like, damn, dude, like, the way you drew it up makes a lot more sense than the way it was, actualized on the field, but it
Yeah.
just looked gross on the field, man. It looked disgusting.
Like my theory is that it's supposed to help with the run fake, but yeah, the execution and like you can say that execution is on the players all you want, but 31 other NFL teams are executing well these days, and that we have players that are better than some of those guys. I'm willing to bet, but
Yeah.
that's my thing. It would have been cool. The only other thing I can add is it would have been cool if Jacksonville had won that game.
It would have been real cool, dude. It would have been cool if the Raiders actually tried to win. If Desmond Ritter put the team on his
Yeah,
back and beat the Falcons last night. Talk about a narrative that would have been.
I know we would have been
Desmond
cool.
Ritter going up against his former team. I
We would have
mean,
been
look,
cool.
honestly, like from a Patriot standpoint, it's really hard, and we could probably save this for some pregame talk when we're not actually dissecting a whole game post after the fact. But I wonder just when I don't trust Elliott Wolf yet, definitely don't trust whoever else is up there. If Matt Groh still has some sort of involvement, whatever. Uh, I wonder if it almost is better to just stay pat at 3 rather than go up to 2, because we might try to get cute with the trade back and then just end up, maybe the offense, maybe getting Will Campbell is the best thing we can do. But if you sit pat at 3, I don't think anyone tries to really trade up with you, except maybe Jacksonville if they're so inclined to get Travis Hunter. Uh,
Yeah,
but then you're just kind of taking the best player available uh, and the biggest need, which is all of them. So I think maybe that forces us into just making a decision rather
sure.
than getting like dynasty level cute with a pick that's in an important spot, and we end up maybe sacrificing some future success. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but that's just maybe
No, but that's solid.
a silver lining. I don't know. I don't
No,
know,
I
dude.
agree with that. I could see them trying to do way too much. It's kind of a theme with our boys.
The
Um,
dogs.
yeah, I don't know. You got anything else?
Nah, dude. I think that's about all. It was honestly impressive that we were able to get through 50 minutes, 56 minutes of that game, considering there was really so little to talk about in terms of like Patriots performance.
No, I think
Really
it.
little in the good department for sure.
I strangely feel like this is one of our better ones too.
It was. If you want to
Yeah,
bleep out any of the S words I said, I believe I said 2. That would be great if that's at all
I
possible. I don't know how to do that.
I draft an F bomb, so I'm not
Did
exactly.
you actually? Yeah, I don't care about you, dog. I just know that if if I'm trying to get a job and they come across this podcast in 25 years, uh, that me saying SHI. One time I did say shiz though, so I hope they picked up on that. But
Yeah, that's not
yeah.
technically that bad.
But I'm trying to work for the New York State Sanitation Department in 25 years, dude, and get that sweet pension, dog. Like I don't want
In
my
Rochester, New York.
podcast crimes to be the death of me.
No, I'll see what I can do.
Yeah.
All right, this has been ExPats.
This has been ExPats.
See you later this week.
Sayonara.
All right.